Are you still there? Right, no problem. I just think, like, even on the way back, if you can just get, like, street scenes, like, stop the car, get out of the car, street scenes, like, as many people as possible, as many sort of images. Also get the cameraman to do it. If you have, like, 3 or 4 minutes of that sort of street scenes, that would be fine. If you can, okay? Great, okay, thank you, bye-bye.
Good afternoon. Welcome to today's press briefing. Now the floor is open to questions. CCTV. The 13th BRICS Summit was held via video link yesterday. Could you share with us China's initiatives and proposals for advancing BRICS cooperation? President Xi Jinping put forward the following 5 proposals aimed to advance the high-quality development of BRICS practical cooperation. First, strengthen public health cooperation in the spirit of solidarity. We need to support each other's COVID response, pursue practical cooperation on vaccines, including joint research and production, and mutual recognition of standards, and facilitate an early launch of the BRICS Vaccine R&D Center in virtual format. Second, strengthen international cooperation on vaccines in the spirit of equitable access for all. China has provided more than 1 billion doses of finished and bulk vaccines to over 100 countries and international organizations, and will strive to provide a total of 2 billion doses by the end of this year. On top of the $100 million donation to COVAX, China will donate an additional 100 million doses of vaccines to fellow developing countries within this year. Third, strengthen economic cooperation in the spirit of mutual benefit. China proposes to host a BRICS high-level meeting on climate change and the BRICS Forum on Big Data for Sustainable Development. We welcome the substantive progress made in all kinds of activities held by the Innovation Center in Xiamen, and new progress in expanding the membership of the new development bank. Fourth, strengthen political and security cooperation in the spirit of fairness and justice. We need to consolidate the BRICS strategic partnership, support each other on issues concerning our respective core interests, better coordinate our positions on major international and regional issues, and send out an even bigger collective voice of BRICS countries. Fifth, strengthen people-to-people exchanges in the spirit of mutual learning. China suggests setting up a BRICS alliance for vocational training to organize vocational skills competitions. China will also host a BRICS seminar on governance and a BRICS forum on people-to-people and cultural exchanges. We look forward to welcoming athletes from BRICS countries and the whole world to demonstrate their sporting skills and achieve excellent performance. As China takes over the BRICS chairmanship next year, we look forward to working hand-in-hand with BRICS partners to deepen cooperation in all sectors, forge a closer and more results-oriented partnership, address common challenges, and create a better future. Next question, please. CGTN. On the 8th, State Council and Foreign Minister Wang Yi attended the first Foreign Ministers meeting of Afghanistan's neighboring countries. After the meeting, a joint statement was released. The international community paid great attention to this. Can you share more information on that? On the 8th, the first Foreign Ministers meeting of Afghanistan's neighboring countries was held via video link. This is the first time for the foreign ministers of neighboring countries of Afghanistan to discuss the issue. It is high time to do so with positive impact and role. As a neighbor sharing boundaries with Afghanistan, no country would rather to see no repetition or chaos in Afghanistan, and we expect the resumption of peace and development in Afghanistan. The joint statement is an important outcome in the foreign ministers' meeting and reflect the consensus and the common will of the 6 countries and send positive, strong, and clear message to the international community. The core messages include: the military approach cannot solve the problem. The countries call on Afghanistan to form an open and inclusive political structure and adopt moderate and prudent domestic and foreign policies, uphold neighboring policies of good neighborliness, and make a clean break with all terrorist organizations, and never allow atom and other terrorist organizations to gain a foothold in Afghanistan. The neighboring countries will stand with the Afghan people and support their sovereignty, independence, and territorial integrity, help Afghanistan to achieve peace, security, reconciliation, peace, stability, and development, are ready to help to open border with Afghanistan and commit to provide medical supplies and technical assistance to the Afghan people to combat COVID-19. The countries will coordinate and cooperate on counter-narcotics and migrant and refugee issues, and support the connectivity and regional development of Afghanistan. We call on the international community to help Afghanistan for peace and reconstruction. The countries all agree to continue to host such foreign ministers' meeting and set up relevant mechanisms. This foreign ministers' meeting is the first attempt to respond to the changes in the Afghan situation. It also signals the establishment of a mechanism for coordination and cooperation among the Afghanistan's neighbors. This mechanism coexists with many multilateral mechanisms on the Afghan issue and can forge synergy with them by complementing each other. All the parties at the meeting support to continue carry forward this unique mechanism and would share their policy propositions, coordinate positions, and respond to common challenges through this platform. The international community paid great attention to the meeting and joint statement, believing that the neighboring countries have reached a common denominator on solving the Afghan issue and has sent a clear message to the international community that is, the neighboring countries support the building of a peaceful, stable, prosperous, and friendly Afghanistan and expected to create a good external environment for the peace and reconstruction in Afghanistan. Next question, please.应广，我们刚刚谈到了昨天所举行的金砖峰会，请问您是否可以评论一下金砖国家之间所达成的一系列的共识？Just now, I've already introduced to you some situations and information about the BRICS Leaders Summit. India is the president for this BRICS Summit, and over the past year has been the chair of the BRICS. We fully recognize the contribution of BRICS and express our gratitude to India. Next question, please. Global Times. On the 9th, Suhail Shaheen, spokesperson for the Taliban political office in Qatar, told the Global Times that many members of ATOM have left Afghanistan, and he did not see that anyone in any place will be able to stay in Afghanistan. He also said, "We will not allow any training on our territory. We will not allow any fundraising for those who intend to carry out a foreign agenda. We will never allow the establishment of any recruitment center in Afghanistan." However, he did not answer directly whether the Taliban will extradite ATOM members to China if China requests it in the future. Do you have any comment? We have taken note of the exclusive interview by Global Times and also those further statements by the Afghan Taliban on the ATOM issue. The ATOM is an international organization, terrorist organization designated by the UN Security Council, which poses a direct threat to the security of China and its people. It harms regional security and stability, and is also a tumor festering in Afghanistan. It is the international community, including Afghanistan, to firmly reject, curb, crack down on, and eradicate the ATOM. China has expressed serious concerns over the ATOM to the Afghan Taliban on multiple occasions. The Afghan Taliban attaches importance to this and has made solemn pledges. We hope they will honor their words, make a clean break with the ATOM and other terrorist groups, and take effective measures in its territory to resolutely crack down on those terrorist organizations. In the meantime, they should step up coordination and cooperation with neighboring countries to forestall spillover effects and prevent Afghanistan from becoming a hotbed, harbor, or source of terrorist forces. Next question, please. Australian Defense Minister Peter Dutton, speaking to the American Chamber of Commerce in Australia, said that the world is grappling with a regional environment far more complex and far less predictable than any time since the Second World War. The geopolitical climate had echoes of those in 1930s. China has grown increasingly coercive, driven by zero-sum mentality, and is undermining the sovereignty of other nations and the international and the global rules-based order. Any comment on that? The Australian official has been touting the threat of China and has lodged unwarranted accusation attack against China. This fully exposes its Cold War mentality and ideological bias. This goes against the trend of world peace, development, and cooperation. It harms the regional peace and stability and the interests of Australia itself. It is extremely dangerous and irresponsible. China is firmly opposed to that. China pursues a development path of peace unswervingly and develop friendly cooperation relationship on the basis of the 5 principles of peaceful coexistence with all countries. Especially, we have been the contributor to world peace, global development, and an advocate of the international order. China firmly opposed the international system with the UN at its center and the purposes and principles of the UN Charter and the international basic norms. But we oppose the imposition of the rules made by a handful of countries onto the international community. the current problems in the bilateral relations owes to the Australian side. China has never undermined the sovereignty of Australia, but it is Australia that has been violating international law and basic norms of international relations, flagrantly interferes in China's internal affairs, create tensions and confrontation. We urge the Australian politicians not to play up the China threat theory, not to see China as an imaginary enemy, otherwise they would only hurt themselves in the end of the day. Next question, please. Shenzhen TV. The so-called Taiwanese Foreign Minister Joseph Wu wrote that China's mainland has pressured the UN and its agencies to exclude Taiwan by misusing and misinterpreting the Resolution 2758 adopted by the UNGA as a legal basis. He added only Taiwan's democratically elected government can represent the people on the international stage. Do you have any response? All these above-mentioned remarks of Taiwan independence by Joseph Wu are not even worth refuting. There is only one China in the world, and Taiwan is an inalienable part of China. So Taiwan is already covered in China's representation at the UN. On the issue of the Taiwan region's participation in activities of international organizations, China's position is consistent and clear. It must be handled in accordance with the One China principle, which is also an important principle established by UNGA Resolution 2758. This resolution has already recognized the representatives of the government of the People's Republic of China as the only legitimate representatives of China to the United Nations in political, legal, and procedural sense. So there is no such issue of misusing and misinterpreting whatsoever. We urge the DPP authorities to stop political manipulation, stop separatist movement, and inviting further humiliation. Next question, please. Recently, several Indian media outlets got the slap in the face for running fake news. Some of them cited video game images and video clips and photos of U.S. fighter jets as evidence of a full-fledged invasion of Afghanistan, drawing criticism from foreign media and Indian people. And such collocation of fake news had been exposed time and again. What's your comment? China always holds that news reporting should show respect for facts. We firmly oppose fabrication of fake news in breach of professional ethics in the name of press freedom. The international community should strengthen cooperation in combating disinformation to jointly safeguard a healthy, rational, and objective environment for public opinion. Next question, please. Phoenix TV. Today marks the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 incident. What is your comment, and how do you see the current situation in counterterrorism efforts in the world? September 11th this year marks the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 incident. In the past 2 decades, important progress has been made in international counterterrorism cooperation. However, the situation remains complex and grave. Terrorism is a common scourge that afflicts entire human society. To combat it is the shared responsibility of the international community. All countries must give full play to the UN's central coordinating role in international counterterrorism cooperation, attach importance to eradicating the breeding ground, tackle prominent issues such as terrorists' abuse of new and emerging technology, and also stay on high alert to terrorist forces' instigation of terrorist activities by taking advantage of COVID-19. Double standard must be abandoned. Terrorists are terrorists. To designate terrorists based on selfish political interests is to condone such activities and hamstrung international counterterrorism cooperation. Ideology cannot be the criteria when it comes to fighting terrorism. We firmly reject attacks and smears against other countries' legitimate counterterrorism and de-radicalization measures under the pretext of protecting ethnic minorities and religious freedom. We also reject the pursuit of selfish political gains through condoning or using terrorist organizations. The Afghan war waged by the U.S. after 9/11 lasted 20 years, but it has not only failed in removing a terrorist threat, but has actually witnessed a dramatic increase of Afghanistan-based terrorist organizations and foreign terrorists. The U.S. should learn some hard lessons. The end of the military intervention should mark the beginning of its earnest resuming of its due responsibilities. The country is more obligated than any other country to provide Afghan people with economic livelihood and humanitarian assistance, help the country realize stability and prevent chaos, curb the threat of terrorism, and achieve sound development. Next question, please. Macau Monthly. It is reported that on the 9th, some 13 Republican congressmen have written a letter to the Minister of Transportation Minister expressing their concern over the U.S. decision to approve Huawei's purchase of automobile chips. He is worried that Huawei would collect some information of the American public and the U.S. transportation infrastructure. What is your comment? Some U.S. politicians have been engaging in the practice of thieves calling "Stop the Thief." Chinese people are angry about it. If we talk about stealing and collecting information, the U.S. is in fact the world champion. PRISM and the irritant horn and other global tapping scandals have shown that the U.S. is the true empire of tapping. It is not the U.S. that should feel worried, but other countries in the world. Chinese companies keep good record in the information security. Huawei has above the board declared that they would like to sign no backdoor agreement and would like to establish a cybersecurity assessment center in any country to receive external scrutiny. I wonder if American companies would like to do the same. We urge some U.S. congressmen do more concrete things, make more contribution to their electoral basis, make less smears and political manipulation. Next question, please.我想问一个较为宽泛的问题，这是关于中美两国元首通话的一个问题。请问您是否可以提供更多的细节？比如说通话的时长，比如说未来是否还会有类似的通话？因为距离上一次通话已经过去了7个多月。另外还有未来工作层面是否还会增加接触？我想要了解更多具体的一些细节。我们未来在未来的几周几个月可以 看到什么？在未来可以从通话方面得到什么样的成果？谢谢。China and the U.S. are respectively largest developing country and the biggest developed country in the world. Whether China and the U.S. can handle the bilateral relations bears on the future of the world, and it's a question that must be answered by the two countries. When China and the United States cooperate, the two countries and the world will benefit. When the two countries are in confrontation, the two countries and the world will suffer. Getting the relationship right is not an option, but something we must do and must do well. The international community is now facing many challenges. China and the United States need to show broad vision and shoulder great responsibilities. The two countries should look ahead and press forward, demonstrate strategic courage and political resolve, and bring China-US relations back to the right track of stable development as soon as possible for the good of the people in both countries and around the world. In this phone call, both presidents agreed that in-depth communication between them on China-US relations and major international issues is very important for steering the bilateral ties in the right direction. They agreed to maintain frequent contact by multiple means and instruct officials at a working level to intensify the work, conduct intensive dialogue, create conditions for the further development of China-US relations. As for the specific questions you asked, I have no update for you. Next question, please. South China Morning Post. Another question on the phone call between the two presidents. President Biden said that the U.S. has no intention to change the One China policy. Are you satisfied with his comments, and what is your response? The Taiwan question is the most important and the most sensitive issue in bilateral relations. The One China principle is the political foundation for China-U.S. relations. In a phone call, President Xi Jinping stressed that on the basis of respecting each other's core concerns and properly managing differences, the relevant departments of the two countries may continue their engagement and dialogue to advance coordination and cooperation, to inject more positive dynamics into the relationship. The U.S. side, as President Biden has said, has no intention to change the One China policy. Next question, please. Any more questions? And that will be the end. Today is Teachers' Day. Valuing education and respecting teachers is a great tradition of China. Students in China never forget to feel grateful for their teachers. We would express our best wishes to teachers in China. Happy weekend to you all.